You know you're in trouble when a new model comes to market raving about its lap time around the Nürburgring, that most enduring of irrelevancies to the average car buyer. This one does exactly that, but also a lot more. Let's drive this all-new 15 Land Rover Range Rover Sport SVR and check the tech. Now, the key thing to bear in mind about a Range Rover Sport is that it's not the Sport version of a Range Rover. The Range Rover Sport is its own distinct model, and it carries some of the design cues from the Evoque, particularly what they call this diminishing DLO. It's the side windows that get narrower as you go to the back of the car. When car makers make a hotter car, they always give it a more aggressive chin with bigger holes in it to get air in, different wheels. You get some lower body cladding here, and out back you got 4 exhaust pipes that are very nicely chiseled and what they call a splitter for airflow management down the middle. This is the first of a new line of cars from Land Rover that are kind of like BMW M, if you will. They come from the special vehicle operation of Land Rover, but Ford already has a trademark on SVO, so their SVO is badged SVR. Now, Range Rover, for that matter, Land Rover interiors have always struck me as some of the most handsome. It's a great layout, ergo is good, handsomeness is everywhere. I could do without this two-tone stuff. You also notice we have pseudo-sport, pseudo-racing seats in both the front row and in the back row. Because those immovable headrests are always there, it can make it a little hard to put the back seats down, so that's a bit of a sacrifice for sport pretension versus practicality. And as you can see, the fold flat is kind of pseudo-flat. This is not optimized for cargo, nor is there a third row available. Now, we've seen this head unit before in Jag Land Rover products. It's a unique interface to them. One of my biggest gripes is the slowness of its touchscreen response and the fact that you have to do voice input of navigation destinations in little itty-bitty pieces. 2, 3, 5.
2, 3, 5.
I mean, just compare how fast it is to tell your phone to take you somewhere than to tell this thing to do so. Okay, Google, drive to 235 2nd Street, San Francisco, California. My third gripe is how many screens interrupt what you're seeing here. I can't tell you how many warning or notification screens I got that just blot out what's on the main screen that I care about. And even when I turn the volume knob, after a moment or two, it brings up a confirmation screen that I don't need. My ears tell me how loud it is. That just gets in the way of what I care about. And again, overlaying all of this is so much lag and delay. It's not measured in seconds, parts of seconds, but that's not okay in a car. Much brighter spot is up here in the upper left, in control apps. Now here's where you get an apps platform. You can decide what you want on which of these screens, very much like you do on your phone or your tablet, and it's all managed here through the Jag In Control Apps app on your phone that is very much a projector app to get things here, up here, but obviously not your whole phone, their own curated basket. The apps all come from this control panel on your phone. You've got some new ones that are called out here, like RDO and Glimpse are apparently recent. You can add Civic navigation if you don't like what Land Rover's got, as well as a few other apps, most of which aren't exactly globally famous. And then down here you can see the ones I do have installed, like Parkopedia, Stitcher, RDO. And this is where you set up the layout of your apps on the car. These are flip-through screens on the vehicle. I mock them up here first, and then they get pushed out to the car. Now, the cameras on this vehicle are interesting. You've got a variety of views and settings. Parked right now, I've got the junction view. I also have a curb view that looks out to the sides off the front wings. I can set up new combinations of cameras that you don't see on any other car. So they're very camera-centric on this vehicle. Too bad that camera in the rear, at least, is so awful. In fact, it's so bad, I'm pretty sure it's defective, and I'm not going to knock it because nobody would ship a camera with that bad registration of colors and fuzziness into a production car. Now, up here in the engine bay is some fairly familiar Jag Land Rover stuff, a 5-liter supercharged V8. But because you got an SVR badge on it, it puts out more. 550 horse, that's 40 more than without that badge. 41 more pound-feet of torque gets you up to 502. And of course, it goes out through an 8-speed automatic only, but it's a sport automatic with faster shifts. And that powers all four wheels either in a trackish mode or in an off-road mode, depending where you have your terrain response knob set. Now, this vehicle's heavy, 5,100 pounds, despite the extensive use of aluminum. Still gets up to 60, though, in 4.5 seconds or better. So where do you give? On the MPG, of course. It's rated at only $14.19. But if you're buying a vehicle like this, you didn't buy it in a shootout between it and a Prius.
You know, the first thing that impressed me as I got in this Range Rover Sport SVR was not what it did when it moved, but what it did when it comes to a stop. This vehicle has the best auto start-stop technology ever. It starts the engine almost in the time it takes to lift off the brake pedal. That's very nicely done. And it helps you get the most out of that pretty poor MPG. The next thing you notice is definitely about going. That is the most roary exhaust note of any major car maker right now. Jag and Land Rover are obsessed with obnoxious exhaust systems, and they're fun. The power, of course, is prodigious. This sport automatic, as they say, is definitely tight. It's quick. All in, the fundamental takeaway I get, comparing this to one of the hot Cayennes or an X5M, is that it's less severe. And yet it handles like a very capable car when you press it, though I imagine if I went head-to-head, it's not as sharp as those two turbines.
Okay, let's price our Range Rover Sport SVR. This is not going to be a cheap date, as you can imagine. All in about $117,300 the way I would do it. What they've done here in this category is to hit to, I think, more bases than their competition. It's also a very comfortable daily driver. Not all the competitors are. They can be high-strung. And it's got serious off-road cred. More cars driven CNET style. Standing by now at cnetoncars.com. Click on the road.